Welcome to the PM Pour, the podcast for property managers. It's a place to pour a cup of coffee, pour yourself a glass of wine, or simply pour your heart out. The PM Pour is a community designed specifically for those in property management. It's a safe space to communicate, network, and learn from one another. So, welcome back to the PM Pour this week, everyone. We've got Darren Hunter with us again. So, thank you, Darren. And we are going to continue the conversation about fee maximisation. Fees, I love talking about fees, and I'm very passionate about fees throughout our industry. And I think that we can certainly do better all together to make sure that we're not cutting fees. And in our last week's episode, we talked about it was Darren's first property manager who had a poverty fee mindset, and he changed her mindset, and she was out signing management agreements when she didn't initially believe that it was possible. So, Darren, what are some of the things that you did with Marlena to change her mind?
Well, we just got to change what people believe to be true. And part of my training that I do with people is we need to undo it's really an unlearning journey. So, for example, one of the unlearnings that we need to do to understand about fees is one of the false mindsets that we have and facts that we need to change, the truth to be changed, is we have this wrong mindset. So, for example, that typically, traditionally, property management agencies have what's called a fee stack. All right. It's a management fee, a letting fee, a lease renewal fee, a marketing fee, an admin fee, and so forth. And all those fees are stacked up. That's a traditional fee structure, or what I call a fee stack. And the mistake that we make is thinking that owners are critical and focused on the management fee, but also they're equally focused and critical on the letting fee, and they're equally focused and critical on the marketing fee and all the fees. It is an incorrect mindset. And so what I teach is what's called the law of the main game. And they're really only focused on the main game. And the best way to understand this fee law is two owners at a barbecue. They're having a chat about fees, and one guy says, "Oh, who's managing your property?" "Well, I'm with ABC Real Estate." "Oh, ha, ha, ha. I'm with XYZ Realty down the road." "Oh, what are you being charged?" "Well, I'm getting charged 8%. "Oh, really? I'm getting charged 7%. Ha, ha, ha." But they didn't talk about any other fees, did they?
No.
And if you
That's
ask them, what are the other fees? I go, "Oh, I don't know. It's something," because it's unimportant and it flies under the radar. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
owners, with the law of the main game is they're really going to give a rip about the management fee. And we know that is true because every time we get a fee objection, what is it usually on? The management fee.
Yeah.
And not the other stuff. Most of the time, it's just a management fee. Every now and again, they might go on something else, but we know 80 to 90% of the time, it's the management fee. So there is the law of the main game in action. So what that means is they really don't really get concerned about the lower level stuff. And the lower level stuff is things like routine inspection fees. And the most lowest level thing, and you got to understand, is that logic doesn't come into play. So we charging now tenant exit fees. So typically this is the opposite to a letting. The letting is the most busiest procedure, and it's anywhere between 8 to 12 hours of work. All right. With the
It's
driving
massive.
back and
Yeah.
forth to a property before you've got an application to work with, the processing of it, then putting it to the landlord, speaking to the tenant, getting the ingoing inspection done, all the welcome pack done, getting the lease created, then getting the tenant signed up. It's anywhere between 8 to 12 hours. That is the most busiest and cumbersome procedure that we have. And if I said, "Hang on, don't charge a letting fee, just roll it into the management fee," people go, "Darren, you got rocks in your head. We've got to charge a letting fee. Why wouldn't we charge a letting fee?" And the conviction will just come pouring out of their mouth. All right. But if I said, "Why aren't you charging a tenant exit fee," which is all the work from where a tenant gives notice or you give notice right through to bond refund and all the crazy work in between, why wouldn't you charge for that? Then, "Oh, what's the management fee for?"
Yeah.
It's a mindset, all right? And so the tenant exit fee, because owners are so focused on the management fee, and I call that a red light. And if not, they might be focused on the letting fee. I'll call that an orange light, but everything else is a green light. And the tenant exit fee is the green of the green. And so what I'm finding, though, we're rolling out this tenant exit fee. People are just not questioning it because it's right down the bottom, and it's really, really easy to see why wouldn't an agency charge for all of that work. So typically, if you're charging a 2-week letting fee, you charge a 1-week tenant exit fee. If you're charging a 1-week letting fee, like a lot of people do on the East Coast and New Zealand, then you charge half a week's tenant exit fee. And that's generally the guide that I give to people.
Yeah. Yeah. There are some people finding at the moment when I'm talking to them about fees, they're like, well, they only charge a management fee. And I'm like, oh, right. They don't charge any letting fee, lease renewal fee, any routine inspections. No, no, no. It's only a management fee. And it's only a management fee of like 5% or something. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and there was someone who was charging 3%. And I said, 3% and nothing else? I said, that seems a little
In
bit.
Adelaide?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
all I can say is this, is they do not have one of these in their office, okay? A calculator.
Oh,
And
what is that?
it's a calculator. And okay, it's old school calculator, right? But my point is this, is that we know in a staffed agency, it costs anywhere between $1,800 to possibly $1,900 a year cost just to manage one property in a staffed agency. Now,
Yeah.
if you've got a person that's an owner, operator, and they're managing all themselves, well, they'll have different overheads. But a staffed agency, so if we're now signing up at 3%, and let's say the average rent is 600, all
Yep.
right, $600 a week, all right, times by 52, times by 3%, that's without GST. Well, that's $936. That is a very, very dumb business decision. And it won't take them long to realize that they're hitting the wall and they've done a really dumb thing. So
And it may be that the business owners don't actually know that that's really occurring, because if they're sales focused business owners, it may be a case of them not totally understanding as well
but
the
this
way
stuff
that.
happens all the time, particularly when you've got a multiple landlord that comes along and he's got 5 properties. We've completely overlooked the fact that they're $300 a week, so half the normal rent, really low, what I call dog boxes, right?
Yeah.
And we're so seduced by roofs and front doors. We want the growth, we want the growth, we want the growth, because we're into roof counting, not into money counting.
I was going to say that, and that's the wrong mindset as well, isn't it? It's
Correct. We're into property counting.
completely.
It's a wrong count. We got to count
Yeah.
the money. Show me the money.
Yeah.
So we go on and we go sign up. And because the owner says, well, I want a big fat management fee discount, and because we want another 6 roofs and we want another 6 keys on key hooks, because that's what we really, really want. That's what floats our boat. Then we go and sign up. We give them a big fat discount, and the income was already at half anyway because the rents are at half or 2/3 or whatever. And we've given a discount off that. No one's actually calculated that deal is bleeding $5, $6, or $7,000 a year
Mm.
because it's well below break even. And this dumb stuff goes on all the time.
Yeah, and we need to be able to look at it from the financial side of things and look at how much money we're bringing into the business, not how many doors, like you said, or
Correct.
how many roofs we're actually
Correct.
bringing in, because
A-
you can certainly have less properties and still be earning a lot more money, and that's causes you less stress in the end, doesn't it? Because you've got less of a worry, and you've got quality landlords as well, which attract
So
quality
what I
tenants.
do, Kylie, is we use a fee calculator. And so, for example, for $600 a week, it's 8.8%. On the calculator, we know exactly what the management fee is going to be. And let's say the tenancy is going to, on average, tenants turn over every 2 years.
Yep.
Well, we'll only allocate half the letting fee to that figure. And of course, we've got the full monthly admin fee. It might be half a tenant exit fee or whatever. And we'll actually come up with the numbers that this is going to be the minimum amount that this property is going to earn according to the calculator. And that minimum amount then has to meet a criteria. What I work with, particularly in Adelaide, is a minimum of $4,000 minimum fee income before we say yes. And I had a particular office in the northeast of Adelaide that came to me. They were only doing $2,000 a year when we first started. Now what they're signing up is $4,500 a year in total fee income. And it just makes such a difference. There opens up their options. They're able to employ. They're able to, get a department head. They're able to afford a BDM because all the money is there because now we're dollar focused and commission focused, not roofs and front door focused anymore.
Yeah, and that's the big difference as well because salaries are increasing as well. We need to be able to have the ability to ensure that businesses can afford to increase the salaries.
Yes.
And the best way to do that is to make sure that you have a sound fee structure in order to be able to, compensate your team members adequately in order
And
for
the
them to
money's
stay with
there
your
to
business.
compensate for a bad day.
Yeah,
When your head hits a pillow and you've had a crap day, well, at least I'm getting paid well. But here's the truth: good property managers will not work on discount wages because
yeah,
there's been discounts given, or there's crap fees, and so a business ends up hitting the wall because I can't afford to employ anyone that's good, and the money is just not there, and the low fees just sinks the ship, and they hit the wall, end up selling, someone buys it, and on and on the story goes. It's such a common issue.
yeah, it is. Um, what is one of the fees that you see that time and time again? How many businesses you've been into? Oh my gosh. What's the one fee that you think, oh my gosh, it's a no brainer. This fee should be charged. Is that the exit inspection that you're finding that people aren't charging?
Oh, the routine inspection generally is the big one. Now,
That's a
every
big one.
agent
Yep.
in WA charges a routine inspection. They don't question it, but their fees are very low. Now, if you're looking at, how long does it take to do a routine? And when I ask that question, typically in a property manager group, you get, oh, it takes me 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But hang on, booking time, drive time, do the inspection, then do the extra work and the requests that's been generated out of you showing up at the property and the follow up stuff that you need to do, then get the report ready, finished, and sent to the owner. And then everyone agrees it's around about an hour. So, what are we actually worth per hour? And when I say to people typically, okay, what are you worth per hour? And I get this $55 and $66. And then I ask, what are your cleaner charge? And then they say, oh, that and more. So you got
Yeah.
these people managing hundreds of millions of dollars of other people's assets, and they're saying that their hourly rate is less than a cleaner or the same as a cleaner. It's just dumb. And so when we look at it that way, to then say $99 for a routine inspection, it's still very low. But people want to publicly hang me when I mention things like that because in their mind it's too high. But here is the truth. How much does it cost for a plumber to change a leaky washer?
A lot. I just had a plumber recently and he was here for literally maybe 45 minutes and I got a bill of 350 bucks.
So it might be $180 for a drippy tap, right?
Yeah.
But my point is that if the owner's not going to question that and you as a property manager aren't going to question that, and you don't because that's what plumbers charge, why do you feel an owner is going to get upset at $99 for a
Mm.
routine inspection, which is easily justifiable? So this is the big discussion. And in Adelaide, a third of agents charge for routines, but we're still talking about they're charging fees like it was 1999.
$11.
All right, $11. It's just like, really? The fuel's going to cost more than that. It's
Yeah.
just dumb stuff. $11, $22, $33 is probably the high point. And I'm even now embarrassed to talk about 99 because that's still too low.
Yeah.
So, when we start charging these things and finding out that owners aren't questioning them, what we're working out is the mindset that agents think that owners have is completely different to the mindset that owners actually have. It's a big difference. And so we've got to get in sync with reality. And my job is simply my mindset training is to get their brain in sync with the absolute reality. And I do that through stories and just show them my results, having done it over 3 countries.
I think people are experiencing now, particularly what I've been finding speaking to people recently, is that clients are, of course, shopping around as they should be because that's what they do, knowing particularly that different agents will charge different amounts and they tend to go towards lower fees. And that's, oh, well, the agent down the road does it for this amount. Will you match that kind of fee? And I guess that's something that people are struggling with.
Yeah, yeah. So the usual term is, but the other agent is cheaper.
Yep.
It's just like a tenant moving out at a final inspection. They have this DNA wired into them with the words, "But it's cleaner now than when I first moved in." It's the same thing.
That
What we
famous
need to
phrase, yes.
understand is that that same owner that asks, "But the other agent is cheaper," is the same owner that wouldn't go down to McDonald's and say, "Oh, hang on, I saw a better deal at Hungry Jack's. Would you match it?" Or they wouldn't go down to Woolies and say, "I want a discount," with the cashier. All right. But they would with you. Why? Because you're a real estate agent and you're meant to be negotiable. That's that. It's just like you're on Facebook Marketplace. It's a negotiation game. And so when they say, "But the other agent is cheaper," they're playing the game. And so
And so what's
you
a
need
great
to say
response
to
for
them,
them?
so a great response that they can give, and one of my favorites is to simply understand, is that every agent that you said, there's a 3% agent and a 4% agent, they're charging, everyone charges their fees in line with what they believe that they are worth. If they felt that they were worth more, they'd be charging more, but they're not. So their fees are their self scorecard. The 3% agent knows the agents down the road are charging 7% or 8%, but despite knowing that, they're still charging less because they obviously think they're crap compared to them. Otherwise, they would be matching their fee if they felt they were as good. Does that make sense? So it's
Yeah, I love that.
understanding that agents charge their own fees in accordance with what they believe they are worth in comparison to their rivals in the market. With that in mind, we can use the script. Look, Mr. Smith, I know other agents are cheaper. And we know what they're charging. We know what they're all charging, and they know what we're charging too. We've all secret shopped each other. We know what's going on. But despite those cheaper agents knowing that we charge more, and knowing that they know that they cannot compete with us on our level of service, all they've simply done is adjusted their fees down in line with what they believe they are worth. You see, if they thought they were as good as us, they'd be charging the same as us, but they're not. And you've got to look out for that. That's a real warning sign that they've rated themselves on their actual fee charges.
I was going to say, putting it like that, does it come across maybe that you're might be bagging the other agent down the road
Well,
because of their
you, you,
cheap
you want to
fees?
be careful around that for sure,
Yeah.
and not go out and bag them. And they say, but another agent is cheaper, and you can say, well, yes, we know what they all charge, and we
Mm.
can then go into that line. But you can also use other lines,
I,
as well. So for example, look, Mr. Smith, if we're going to have to match the other agent, we're going to have to leave stuff out. I'll tell you what, if it's Friday night, and you ordering your favorite pizza and the Uber driver drops it off at the door, and you suddenly open the pizza box and there should be 8 slices there and you've only got 6 because the Uber driver got hungry because it's a darn good pizza, right? You'd be ticked off, and you'd be so ticked off, you'll also probably go and leave a bad review and get angry because you got less than what you expected.
yeah.
And that's why we've got to deliver to you the full pizza. And that's why we've got to be able to charge the full fee. But here is the truth, Kylie. This is the truth. They simply said, but the other agent is cheaper. But they didn't say, I also know about other agents that are probably more expensive than you, but I won't mention that because this is a
No.
game.
Mm.
I'm only going to mention the cheapest ones.
Yeah, because that's what I want. I want to pay the less.
Correct. It's a
Um,
game of negotiation. And so
and it's
here's
also about
what's
being
interesting.
transparent as well, I think.
It is. And they're just going for the cheapest because they've gone into negotiation posture. Or
Mm.
if they say, well, you're expensive, it's a negotiation posture, like you're playing poker and you got poker face. All right. It's that. So my book, PMP Script Secrets, we go right into a number of different scripts on how to deal with that. But it's understanding the game of negotiation. And they're simply having fun because I don't get to negotiate like this on too often. Um, and to them, you're a real estate agent, and it's a challenge, and they just want to have my buzz. And we've just got to be able to know that we're worth it, have a good explanation as to why. And another really good script is, look, Mr. Smith, I'll tell you what, I'm not able to do that. I'm not able to give a discount on my management fee. But if you're able to sign up by this Friday, 5 p.m., I'll tell you what, I'll do this for you. And you might have a couple of throwaway little fees. For example, you got enhanced photos, or you got a walkthrough technology or a floor plan. we got to do this stuff to set it up anyway. We will drop, 50% off that for the first time if you're able to give a commitment by Friday.
I
And
was
in
just
their
about to say
mind,
that. Mm.
and in their mind, they're thinking, well, at least you negotiated something and you played the game, and that sounds fair to me.
I was just going to ask you if there's a little win that you could give someone,
Yeah.
what little win would that be? And you've just basically answered that with regards to photography or like a floor plan or something, 50% off of professional photographs or something like that. Just so there's nothing saying that we can't, drop anything off. It's just be wise about which fee that you're looking at, giving them a little bit of discount on or a one-off on. So
Yep. So,
um,
Kylie, if I can just plug my books,
I was just
everyone,
about to say that.
yeah,
Yes.
well, we've got
So
Win Worth Secrets, which teaches you the mindset around the fees and getting the best fees, but also increasing your fees with current clients. That's called Win Your Worth Secrets, and the PM Fee Script Secrets with all the scripts on how to overcome, but the other agent is cheaper, and all of those things that get thrown at you. You'll actually find the books. Just go to igtcentral.com, igtcentral.com, and you'll see a panel there with books. Go in there, and the books are free. We're not actually charging you for the printing. You just got to pay for the shipping.
So there are a number of books that you've done, and I love reading your books. They're just fantastic. So yes, so I will actually include a link for that as well, but it is igtcentral.com.
That's it.
So I will make sure that that's made available as well. So um, you do podcasts as well, Darren, and you've been such a mentor to me in many ways. And I just want to ask you something. What's a question? I'm not sure how many podcasts you've been on, like I'm having you on now, because you're usually the one asking all the questions. What's a question you've always wanted someone to ask you, but they never have?
You've stumped me on that one.
Have I?
Think, going to my origin story, I think that's really good, and particularly because we have, we've been intertwined in the origin story as well. But just going
Yeah.
right back to the roots is a great question. So, yeah, that's cool. So, anyway,
Excellent. Well, I know you've got to go and do some things. So thank you so much for joining me, Darren. And I love our conversations and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
no
And
worries.
thank you for being a guest on the PM4 this week. Speak to you soon.
Thank you, Kylie.
I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please subscribe so you're notified of new episodes as they land. If you'd like to speak to me further, please contact me at kylielange.com.